China, first row. China, 67%. That's tariffs.
No, it's not, but you already know that, don't you? Or at least the people you work for already know that. I think this is an attack on American small business owners. It's an attempt to crush small businesses on behalf of giant corporations so they can conquer a larger portion of the market share, or so they can create monopolies. As many people have pointed out, they've arrived at these very incorrect numbers by conflating tariffs with trade deficits. But I don't believe that was a mistake or an accident. See, America has a trade deficit with pretty much everybody because you're the biggest consumer economy. You consume more wastefully than every other country on the planet by quite a large margin. Obviously, when you consume more than the countries you trade with, you end up importing a lot more than you're exporting. Now, conflating tariffs with trade deficits means that these reciprocal tariffs end up targeting the countries that you import the most from. China, for instance, manufactures like a third of almost everything, which means if you're a business trying to sell stuff in America right now, the cost of manufacturing is about to go up dramatically. As the story goes, the plan here is supposed to be to create more jobs by increasing domestic production, which will be good for the American economy long term. Now, that doesn't really check out for a few reasons. Firstly, the price of American manufacturing would likely still be too high, and it would still probably end up being cheaper to just keep importing from places like China or Bangladesh, even with the tariffs. Secondly, as Elon Pelon himself pointed out, even for companies like his that do produce domestically, they're still reliant on importing resources and components from other countries which have a tariff on them, and moving all production to the United States is just not realistic. Unless, of course, you're planning to automate production to remove the cost of labor and steal a bunch of resources from places like, I don't know, Ukraine and Greenland. But that plan wouldn't really create any jobs, and also it sounds a little bit like the desperate Hail Mary of a crazy person. Now, even if this future payoff they're promising actually happens, it's really only relevant for the sort of companies that can afford to take a massive initial financial hit and still afford to invest in creating their own domestic manufacturing infrastructure whilst losing money. Now, what sort of companies can afford to spend money and lose money at the same time? That's right, it's giant mega corporations. In fact, for them, losing money can be profitable. See, if your competitors are going out of business because they can't afford the increased production costs, then the share of the overall market that you control is getting bigger, so your future projected profits will go up, so your stock prices will go up. And if you're the owner of the company, then you will get much richer, even if the profit margins of your company don't actually reflect that. Now, they don't really even have to do the thing where they invest in domestic manufacturing infrastructure, and I don't think they will, at least not on a particularly large scale. They just have to keep the clamps on for long enough to choke the life out of all of the smaller businesses that can't afford not to be profitable. Then Captain America over here will announce that he's made some sort of genius deal. Based on yet more numbers that don't reflect reality, he will announce that he has won some sort of great victory, and the reciprocal tariffs will disappear, and the remaining resurging economy will be in the hands of a much smaller, much wealthier group of people, traditionally what is referred to as an oligarchy.